Well, hello, folks, and welcome to the Dieter Melhorn Fishing Podcast. I hope you're having a good day, whatever day it is that you happen to be listening to the show. Today, we're going to talk about some amateur tournament fishermen, YouTubers of all things, that entered a fishing tournament and beat some of the best professional catfish tournament anglers in America for $100,000. All right, so I might have oversold that a little bit there in the beginning. They were YouTubers. They were somewhat amateur. I'll say amateur in the sense that they don't fish tournaments a lot. As a matter of fact, one of the guys is only his second or third time fishing a catfish tournament. The other anglers, in all seriousness, they're some of the best catfish tournament anglers in the country. One of the guys that fishes there, Mac Minetta, he's from the area where I fish. Great tournament angler, does really well here. He was in first place on day one. This is a 2-day tournament out in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and on the Mississippi River, part of the Mississippi River Monster Series. This is their Mega Bucks tournament series, and they put a lot into this. They're trying to take catfishing to another level. Everybody talks about trying to be a bass fishing, compete with bass fishing, or be similar to bass fishing in that format. This is the same type format of having a tournament where you go catch some fish, you bring in a limit of those fish, you weigh them, you release them, you go to day 2, you weigh a limit again. Same format as bass fishing. And they're trying to do that. They're trying to have a big show, put on a big spectacle. They're doing a good job with that. And the biggest thing is they're getting some money. It's $100,000 to win this event. And that's big money. That's a lot of money. To my knowledge, I think it is the biggest. Correct me if I'm wrong. Drop something in the comments. But some of the best anglers in the country, the guys who have won the major point series before, with some of the different series around King Cat and that kind of stuff. These are the guys that are fishing here. Guys that have won your regional points series. These are the guys that are fishing there. And then there's 3 cats that a lot of y'all are going to know. 2 of them I've done podcasts with. One of them I don't know, so I'll tell you all this in a second, and it'll all kind of make sense. One, Micka Burkhart, Tennessee state record holder twice for a blue catfish. Great guy, a veteran, very humble, nice, just very gracious man. I taped a podcast with him at the Catfish Conference this week. It was going to drop today. I rescheduled it for this because I wanted to do something about this tournament. Just all around great guy, catches a lot of fish. Not the biggest tournament fisherman around. And that's really the funny part in all of this. Spencer Bauer, okay, river certified, great fisherman, great YouTube channel, does great content. Just another good guy I did a podcast with a couple of years ago. And great fisherman, can catch fish anywhere, really good at what he does. And then there's a guy, I even have to look at his name to make sure I say it right, Bradley Gross. I had no clue who he was. Bradley, I apologize. I had no clue who you were. I called Micah and spoke to him, and he gave me some background on him. From what he said, this guy hasn't even fished that many catfish tournaments. Has a YouTube channel. We're going to have to get I'll put some links down in the description of everybody's YouTube channel on this thing so you can go check them out. I think you know the first 2 guys, but the whole point in all this, and the next best thing that I think is funny and refreshing is that all 3 of these guys fish with different catfish rods, the big rods out there. I'm a Catfish Pro guy. I use Catfish Pro rods and reels, and that's, my thing. That's what I would use in a tournament. Micah, he uses Mad Catch rods, okay? Spencer uses Catch the Fever stuff. I fished with their stuff before. And then I heard that, I have to look at his name again, Bradley uses Rip and Lip stuff. So I find it funny that funny and refreshing in that is that because so many of these tournaments are around a specific rod. You got to have this certain rod, and that's all they're hooting and hollering, and they got it all over their jerseys. Well, guess who was standing on the winning podium with $100,000 checks and didn't have on jerseys? You guessed it, these three guys. Everybody else decked out in all their, sponsored stuff with their rods and their stuff all over them. And then these three cats show up in just their regular fishing stuff that they wear out going fishing. I thought it was really, really refreshing. And there's a bigger message in this I'll get to at the end. The other cool thing was this was sponsored by a major boat manufacturer that we all see out there sponsoring a lot of events. Some people think you got to have one of these boats to win a tournament. Well, this tournament was won fishing out of a G3, which was not the sponsor for this tournament. So all of this is fun and refreshing, and it gives some hope to people who are looking to fish tournaments that think, oh, I've got to have this certain boat to do it. I've got to have this giant boat with this giant live well and spend $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 for it. No, you probably don't. Or, oh, well, so-and-so won it with this rod. I got to go buy that rod and use that one because that's going to win the tournament. Well, there were 3 different rods from 3 different manufacturers on these boats that seemed to do a pretty good job with it. And well, I'm nobody. I just got on a T-shirt and I'm out there fishing, and guess what? These guys did too. They just had on their regular fishing stuff. It's refreshing to see these guys step up, and I call them at the beginning of this video amateurs. They're as much a professional as anybody that's out there in the fancy jerseys and the fancy boats. They're great fishermen, and I think that's the thing out of all of this to take away is that you don't have to have all that stuff to compete in tournaments at a national level. You got to be committed to it. You do have to have the money. Collectively, they had to come up with the money. I believe this is a pretty significant entry fee, if I remember, for this tournament. It takes a lot of money to compete. I was looking at one of Spencer's videos a minute ago, briefly looking across, and I think he said he drove 12 hours to get there. That's a major commitment. Depending on what you do for a living, that's a day of work on both ends going, plus a day or 2 to do some pre-fishing if it's a place you've never been to. 2 days for a tournament. You're tying up a week, okay? So you have to have the means to do this. That is a big barrier for most people to get into this. A lot of guys that do this have their own business. They have something that allows them to have the income to do it. That is a big barrier. But with that said, when it comes to the other parts of it, it just comes down to fishing. Now, granted, it would be hard for somebody to just show up, not know that much about fishing, and do what they did, because these guys, they had to do it 2 days in a row. That's one of the things that happened with the guy that was leading. Mac Mineta from our area was leading after day 1. Great first day. I think he ended up winning big fish of the tournament with a fish that was over 100 pounds. Second day, the wheels came off the train, and they came off the top of the mountain, come spiraling down, and, these guys moved up to win. For what Micah said, they were consistent. They wanted to catch a consistent, bag of fish both days, and, they did that. They were in 6th place after day 1. 6th place, and I was looking at the numbers, they were close, but, if I was sitting there, you look at that and you go, a lot has to go wrong in front of you. And a lot did go wrong. What happened with them was they did basically the same thing they did on day 1 and were able to stay consistent. And that consistency is what paid off in them winning this tournament, $100,000. That's a heck of a win. It's a heck of a big show. It's great to see that they're trying to make this big money, big payout tournament happen. It looked like a good crowd. I was trying to see some of the shots of the people that were in the audience there. Seemed to be a pretty good crowd. They put on a big show with this. You should check it out, the whole Mega Buck series. And it's where catfishing could go, maybe, with more of the tournaments. And it may not be where you want catfishing to go. I don't know. Give me some feedback. Do you like the big tournament thing in the catfish world that is similar to bass fishing. Bass fishing is almost a smaller payout model of what goes on in the saltwater world. Give me your thoughts on that. Do you like these big tournaments? And give me your thoughts on what you think about having some old YouTubers that's just out there goofing around. I'd never heard if they use chicken or not. I was watching some of Spencer's stuff, and it looked like they were using cut bait the whole time. So the cut bait fans can be there and still support them on that. But no, it's again, like I said at the beginning, I just jokingly say amateurs. These are great fishermen, and any of you can be doing the same thing with some commitment, dedication, time on the water, and just sticking to it. And cool they pulled together this team too. These guys haven't fished a tournament before, so coming together and making all that happen, very, very impressive. And it'll be interesting to see if they go fish some more of these things, or if it's one and done and they move on. So some motivation for you folks out there, and also a great showing for the folks that are quote unquote new to the tournament world, jumping in there and taking a swing at it and coming out victorious. So hope y'all enjoy this. We'll catch you out on the water.